Danny, good to see you, and thank you for agreeing to record our meeting. So, all those listening in, Danny and I actually we chat every Thursday, 8:30. Yeah, and we have the most fabulous conversations. We talk about all sorts of things, mainly deep, right? Would you say?
Yeah. Most of them. I mean, when we're not talking about ladles, but um, most when we do go into those conversations, they're deep.
They they're pretty
Very,
deep, yeah,
very
yeah.
enjoyable. I like them. I like
So
the deeper you go, the more inspirational.
it's true. We were saying, well, firstly, for those who don't know Danny, yeah, Danny, introduce yourself. Tell them who are you?
Okay. I'm Danny. Hi everyone. Danny Diliberto. I'm founder of Ladles of Love. It was founded 10 years ago on the basis of an ancient Sanskrit word, SEVA, spelled SEVA. And SEVA means giving of yourself, wanting nothing in return. And I found this quite inspirational because all my life I'd been taught give to get back. And this man was telling me give just because you can. And it was an interaction with a homeless man that I call them godly conversations. And I was inspired to start a soup kitchen outside my restaurant. Coming from a Mediterranean home and understanding the importance of beautiful food. For me, Ladles of Love was about serving wholesome, nutritious, well-prepared food. You know, you can taste when food's made with love. You can
That's
argue
for sure.
that, but when food is made, we just got to quickly make. But when you get a chef or you get an Italian mama who puts their heart into it, big difference. So you're not only eating the flavors. I believe in energy transfer. You're eating that love, and for me, that's what Ladles of Love was about. Just serving good food, because clearly I've been put on this earth to serve food to people, because I've been in the restaurant. I was in the restaurant industry for 30 years. So I started my first soup kitchen outside my restaurant right in the middle of the city of Cape Town. We served to 70 homeless people, and I just kept going, one foot in front of the other. It's a calling. People say, what keeps you going? There's this insatiable force in you, this godly force. Literally, when you don't want to get out of bed, it's like God takes your leg, lifts it out of the bed, and hoys it out the bed and says, "Get out and go and do your stuff."
I have a plan for you.
I have a plan for you. Now get your ass out there. Don't worry about anything. I'll sort you out, but fucking move. And
it's amazing, you know, without that purpose, I don't understand how people get out of bed. You know, if you haven't connected with that thing that makes you feel alive, that makes you feel like, okay, this is why I'm on the world. Now, I know people struggle with purpose. Actually, I mean, let's go there for a second. I know lots of people who say, I don't want to go into that purpose discussion because, you know, I don't want to be disappointed, or I've tried to search for it and I never found it. You know, and I always say to people, you know, but you got to, there is something specific, there's something special about every unique individual person, and tapping into that. I love this quote: "The glory of God is seen greatest in a man fully alive." When you engage with that thing, it's like you say, right? You get up in the morning. I mean, when people come and talk about purpose to you, how do you? What's the conversation you have?
Well, you know, when people say, well, I don't really know what my purpose is, I say, well, start with your passion. Take what you love and go and share it with someone less privileged, for example. So you know how to play the guitar well. Great. Go and find some children who are underprivileged, who've never seen a guitar, and give them the opportunity and spend time with them. And it's not about, for me, purpose is not about how many people or what you do, or how big is your impact. For me, it's about do something. Because if everyone does something, imagine this world, how different it will be. So,
You know, Danny. Yeah, go on.
So people say to you, yeah, but what is my little bit going to do? Drop that thought. Do your little bit. Because that little bit, I always say, I've just gone blank on my own quote. But anyway, every person who does their little bit combined creates one huge impact of love.
It's beautiful. As you're saying, what I loved about what you just said there is, if you play the guitar, you then said, take the guitar and play it in front of little children. And it's like you're saying, your purpose isn't the playing of the guitar. That's your talent, right? Yes. Your talent is to play the guitar.
Yeah.
But the purpose is to use your talent to do or make an impact with someone else. That clarity just came to me. I thought, because often when someone, I play the guitar, and then everything's about them playing the guitar, right? Or about the talent, but actually we miss it. Purpose is about taking your talent and doing something useful. You love food, right? I mean, you haven't cooked me a meal yet. I'll forgive you about that. But anyway, you love food. But you haven't made your life about food. You've made your life about impacting people, right?
100%. But you know what, Dave? You're so 100% right, because that day that I had that interaction with a homeless man, okay? So I'll expand on that story a little bit. So we were walking around the city looking for homeless people to serve a cup of soup, which I'd made. We had made a big pot of soup in the restaurant. We served it into little takeaway cups, and then we walked the streets of Cape Town looking for homeless men. And I remember I was on Long Street, and I saw a homeless man across the street, a typical homeless man wrapped in a dirty duvet. He was shouting at the world. And I was very intimidated to approach him because, there's this concept, he might attack me, or I don't know. Anyway, but this calling just said, go and give that man a cup of soup. And so I walked up to him, and he was shouting at the world. But the minute I got in front of him, it's like that switch went off, and he looked at me, and it was like he came out of his head and back to normal. And then when I said, would you like a cup of soup? He said, yes, please. And I gave him the soup, and he said, thank you very much. Like I was talking to a normal person. And then when I walked away, he shot back into that crazy headspace. Now, that moment of where that interaction probably restored that human being's dignity for a few seconds. That interaction and giving him the food restored that man's dignity for that moment. And like you said, it wasn't about the food. It was just that whole interaction. I impacted that person's life for a second. I was able to bring him out of that crazy headspace for a second and serve him. And it was that moment that I realized, shit, I need to start a soup kitchen. And like you said, it's not about food. It's about interacting, saying to the homeless person, I know you're homeless. I hear your story. You've got a story. I don't judge you for being homeless. I don't judge you for how you behave, blah, blah, blah. You're a human being with your story.
I love that. I love that. We need to humanize people again. When we dehumanize people, the world, you can do the most heinous things. We know that, in the world. And I've only known you for about 18 months, so that feels like most of my life. And this SEVA principle, comes up because it's I know it's the foundation now. It was just let's talk about that, because now we're touching like a spirituality, right? And I know that, you help people journey on, they want to go on a deeper journey with themselves, and you help people do that as well. So let's just take a minute or so. This SEVA principle, how would you explain SEVA to someone that's starting a journey, a spiritual journey, a journey where they want to understand that the world is bigger than just themselves? How does SEVA work with them then?
Well, the first thing is it's got nothing to do with you. Zero. SEVA has nothing to do with you. You don't even do it. I remember the teacher said you don't even do it because, a lot of people do it, because I'm searching for myself, whatever it is, or I'll go volunteering because I'm not feeling so great, and they'll take pictures and put it on Instagram. And I don't condone that, okay? I'm not saying but that's not SEVA, because SEVA is about serving. Giving of yourself for nothing in return. So it has absolutely nothing to do with you. The minute you put yourself on Instagram, that's not SEVA. Now, Ladles does put on Instagram, not because we want recognition, but because we need to show our donors what we do. So that's before anyone says, "Yo, why Ladles all over?" We need
I mean, marketing is perfectly legit.
We're a brand, and we need to be findable to be fundable. So we out there.
That's a good tagline there, Dan. Well done.
Yeah. Well, I saw it from Kevin Brown on LinkedIn. I can't take the credit.
That's very good.
So SEVA has nothing to do with you. And I remember the teacher said 2 things will happen when you perform SEVA in its entirety, with every cell of your being. 2 things will happen. 1, you will always be provided for. And 2, as you grow, so your shoulders will grow to take on the responsibility.
I want you to just that's deep. There's 2 things there, right? When you love unconditionally, which is, and I guess my words, from my background.
That's a nice way of putting it, Dave. It's loving unconditionally.
Yeah, when you love completely unconditionally, you unlock a flow. I think we've spoken about this, where you said you never lack. There's almost like a provision that comes. And it's so true in my life, I came from a Christian family where Christian values, one of the values is to love unconditionally, love others as you'd have them love yourself. And I know that when I've been in a flow of loving others, and there are seasons when we're not as good at it as others, right? But when I'm in that season where I am genuinely loving others with no expectation of return, I do sense that there is an abundance. There is a return flow. I know that in one of the scriptures in the Bible would say that as you sow, as a man sows, so he reaps. If you sow unconditionally, you'll reap in harvests and fields that you've never sown in. To use that kind of language, and it's the same stuff, right? It's the same thing.
It's about taking. You've heard me say this, Dave, so many times. It's about taking the letter M in the word me and turning it upside down. What do you get? You get, and that's what it's about. And like you say, and it's so important to keep that flow open. Like you said, when you receive, so like if we get donations of stuff, I'm passionate. Like my guys in the warehouse know, don't keep stuff here. Get it out. Get it out, because you need to keep that. When the money's coming in, yes, you need reserves. I've got that, but you've got to keep it flowing, and you've got to trust. I say Ladles is where it is, not because of me, but through me. And you become a vehicle, and you've got to trust. And when you perform SEVA, when you perform that purpose, I can't even tell you, Dave, look at our story. A few months before you, I was saying, shit, I think we need someone to help us with the organization, because what's our next direction? And I was putting it out there. And 2 months later, you and I are having a freak meeting that Kerry was wanting to meet Alison to do a bit of volunteering. And the next thing, you and I are sitting in a meeting. And the next thing, now you're on our board. I mean, I get
it's been
on edge.
It's been an incredible journey, Danny. But I guess if we look back in our lives, you're the same. You see that God, the universe, however you want to talk about that, brings people into your lives. But it's about staying in this flow state, right? Stay in a state of I'm living for others. I'm in this world as a vehicle, as a what do you call a conduit, for God to reach others. And I think if you can stay in that state of I'm here to flow out to others, the right people come at the right time. Because for me, when I was in England coming to South Africa, I said I want to give back. I want to be involved in a charity, and I had no idea what that meant. And I thought I was going to be pouring soup into a bucket, every day. And actually, what happened is my 35 years of being a business coach was exactly the tools that was required to help a charity, right? Just like the guitar player had a talent to play guitars, so he goes and sings in front of children. I'll use my talent in business to help you. And then, of course, what happens is you form these fantastic friendships and bonds, right?
You know, and I mean, think about this, Dave. You look at, drugs is a problem in our world, right? So, and you look at people that have fallen off the wagon. They become addicted to drugs and blah blah, and they almost destroy their lives. You look at coaches today who deal with drug addicts. They've all been there. So they all had to lose themselves to find themselves. And then they're using that talent through their experience to share with others. That's become their purpose. Wow. So it is when people say, well, I don't know what to do. Stop. I just say, start with what you love. And it's not about, I think people and it's that the challenge is that people say, yeah, but what is my little bit going to do? For me, excuse me,
right,
whoever's listening out there, that's a cop-out. Okay. It's giving you an excuse to remain in your comfort zone and just say, well, my little bit's not going to do anything, so I'm just not going to do anything. So there you go, stay in your, because it's a scary journey. There's no doubt. It's a scary journey to step out of that comfort zone and do something good.
Absolutely. I was going to use the word fear, which you're using in the word scary. I think fear is one of the biggest things that holds us back. I'm using, we talked about it many times, is I think Elizabeth Gilbert talks about, she's driving the car and she suddenly feels this sense of fear. Sometimes we get overwhelmed, or some people might feel overwhelmed, but she senses fear. But instead of allowing fear to control its situation, she said, oh, hello, fear. Oh, hello, my old friend. I feel you. I see you. You can sit in the back seat because we need you, because you protect me. You make me not put my hand in the fire, or jump from that huge bridge or whatever it is. So I need you. But you need to sit in the back seat, not in front of the steering wheel.
Yes.
And I think we so allow fear to be the driver of the car, and we sit in the back seat, right? Moaning about fear. Oh, yes. I'm so afraid. I'm so afraid. Yeah. But we're in the back seat. Yeah. And I love that we need to notice our emotions, real emotions, but then we need to put them in their proper place. Exactly. Would you agree with that? How does that 100%. Sound?
And I think the word fear is the right word, Dave, because I think the biggest fear is the fear of failure. So people just don't do it. And
what's that rooted in, Dan?
Say that again.
What's that rooted in? That fear of failure? Well,
that they've let themselves down. That maybe it comes from the part their parents tell them how you've got to succeed. You've got to succeed, and what does success look like at the end of the day? When have you failed? Honestly, you failed when you don't get up. That's when you failed. And I always tell people, and you know what, it's about, I don't know if it's the right decision, and should I do it? And then we analyze it, and we break it down, and we do a SWOT analysis, and 2 months later, it's like, that's all it is, and an idea. And then we ask other people's opinions, which is one thing you get for free, is opinions. Lots of them.
That's true.
So for me, it's, you know what, I say, just make a decision. Just do it. There's no bad. Is there such thing as a bad decision? I look at where I am in my life today. Okay, I'm blessed. I have ladles in my life, and can I tell you how many bad decisions I made in my life? But you know what? If I reflect back, all those bad decisions, I wouldn't change any single one of them, because had I done that, I would have probably been on another trajectory in life. I am bad today because of all the bad decisions that I've made. So are they bad?
We're going to have to do this one again, because most of the bad decisions I made have led to major good things in my life, right?
100%.
Yeah. I mean, at the time, I'm going like, oh, no, I can't believe I've done this, you know, or even done it again. Right? It's like, oh my gosh. But, you know, because life is understood backwards, live forwards, but understood backwards. And I look back and what were the biggest mistakes? And I've made some big ones. I'm sure people have.
Yeah.
I would not be here having this conversation with you today if I hadn't made those mistakes. So were they mistakes in the end?
No.
You know, I think, yeah.
The biggest mistake is not doing anything.
That's so powerful.
And then the regret of, oh, what if I would have done it?
Oh, yes.
That's even worse. So like they say, choose your difficult. Do you want the regret of what would have happened if I had done it? Or had you done it, fallen on your ass and said, shit, I did it, didn't work. Move on.
Yeah.
Choose your difficult.
I love that. Choose your difficult. I love that. And that was James Clear, I think, says that.
Yeah, I love it. Choose your difficult.
I love it. I also I heard a quote the other day. Confidence is not confidence in success. Confidence is that I can deal with failure. Which I really like, yeah.
But you know what, Dave? I also say to people, always put awareness behind your words. Always. When you say failure, it's a harsh word. Okay. But if you say it, well, I failed, because that's what people understand, but your awareness is, it doesn't mean that I'm useless, I'm broken, I don't know what I'm doing. You say, I failed, but you know what? I'm carrying on. So when you put awareness behind the word, you're now saying, I failed, but I'm moving on. Rather than if you
so good.
And you say, well, I failed, then you feel sorry for yourself, you become a victim, and then you just maybe become
and you stick.
And you stay.
Yeah, the wheels literally come off and you just stand still. And, you know, something just come to my mind. This is we think we failed because all we can see is the here and now, the short-term immediate. But we were just saying, when we look back over the, you know, aeons of time, decades, we realize that actually in the bigger scheme of things, it's not a failure. You know, it's a change. We were unwise. Perhaps we caused ourselves some pain, no doubt, and usually others, right? But I love this thing. Again, I just harken back to my upbringing in church days, where it says all things work together for good. And that's a belief. I believe that if you have the right mindset, all things that we do, good, bad, ugly, and different, can work together for our good.
Powerful, Dave. And can you argue that? Look where you are in your life. Look where I am in my life. It's just, you know what? You just got to have the freaking courage. When that fear comes up, you are not that fear.
Say that again.
When the fear comes up, you are not that fear. That's your ego wanting to control you.
Wow.
Like that analogy you used, you put that fear in the back seat and you say, dude, just chill. When I need you, I'll call on you. You know?
Yes. Yeah.
Like if I'm screaming at 100 kilometers an hour with a car towards a wall, then I need you.
Yeah.
You know,
please shout.
Brakes on. You know,
take hold of this, lean over and take.
Turn the car, dude, slow down. You know, then yes, then now I need you, sir. Yeah, but otherwise, stay there.
Yeah, just sit in the back seat.
In the back and let's enjoy the ride together. You know.
I love that. I love that. Hey, Danny, we better go because I'm sure everyone listening to this has probably finished their car journey or the dishes or whatever they do and they're listening to it. But let's do this again, bud.
Always. These are the conversations we have, right?
Yeah, every week. And
after you walk away feeling happy.
We do. We go. So, Danny, thank you so much for allowing me to video you, and I'm sure this will be the beginning of many to come. So, have a wonderful day, and we'll keep chatting.
Thanks, dude.
Take care.
Ciao.